Hey, it's Mario Torres Leon, founder of AlivePartner.com. Yesterday, I was in the middle of my meeting with the Alive Partner team, and a question came my way, which I thought was worth sharing with you. And this came from one of my team members, Megan, and she said the following: Mario, when you're traveling, like you just did, I just came back from a trip with my 6-year-old son. She said, how do you manage to continue doing the things that you do, that you talk about, your morning practices? How do you handle that? Because there's a lot of people that have children and they find it extremely difficult to do that. So I want to share with you today how is it that I go about that so that those things don't get compromised and they don't get cut out of my life. And the answer to that is, and this is really interesting, I have found with my children that when the parents are aligned, when you are very clear in what is it that you are doing, what is it that you do, and you send that message to them, they end up being your advocates for doing those things that you do. And I'm speaking particularly about the aspect of my morning meditation. I have talked here about the one of the most powerful tools that I have ever come across in my entire life when it comes to living a life that is really keeping you alive, and is the aspect of intentional breathing. And if you haven't seen that video, I'm going to ask you to click on the link so you can actually see that video, because in a matter of 5 minutes you can change your life. But in this particular case, I like to meditate on a daily basis. And when I meditate, you could call this, if you're not comfortable with that or you don't know meditation techniques, it's actually not a problem. You can actually call it, let's say, breathing, simple breathing. But what I do is I do not compromise that on a daily basis. It doesn't matter where in the world I may be traveling. It doesn't matter whether I'm in my home, I mean, I'm in a hotel, even in an open area. There are some things that I have come to the point of understanding and realizing that you just can't compromise them. Because if you do, everything from that point on basically creates a negative trigger cascade sort of phenomenon. And if you want another example of how that works, think about it as, let's say that you're just about to start a new diet, a new dietary lifestyle. And this requires that in the morning, you're going to have, let's say, eggs, and you're going to have bacon only, or you're just going to have, fresh pressed juices. Well, you go ahead and you have your first, meal of the day, and you're doing whatever is prescribed by the diet. And then you get to the lunchtime, and for whatever reason you didn't bring your particular food with you, and now you're like, oh my gosh, I am so hungry, I need to get something else. And then you basically go and stop and buy whatever you find along the way because you're starving. And now that you've broken, let's call it, that particular diet, and the commitment that you had in the morning to doing what you were going to do, now you find yourself on a different train. And then when dinner time comes, and you probably can relate to this, you say, well, I already broke the diet at noontime today for my lunch. And, there's always tomorrow, and I'm going to start it again. So now, out of 3 meals that you had scheduled, and you were already thinking that you would be eating certain things as prescribed by this new diet that you've adopted, now you actually, 2 out of 3 things, you pretty much are out of line with your own commitment. And now you roll it over to the next day. That completely changed the pace of the day. And the worst part of all of that is that you get to the end of the day, and now you're like, I really don't, that was not awesome. I don't feel great about myself. It starts to create this defeated sort of mood and energy about your day, that sometimes it even fuels going into the next day and saying, you know what, I already kind of did that. I don't know. Maybe I'll just start it next week. And now one week rolls into the next one, into the next one, into the next one. So in this particular case, with my meditation in my morning routine, and I'll continue to talk about this and create some more videos about this, it is so important to send that message to the people that love us, to the people that surround us. This could be your children. In my case, I was traveling with a 6-year-old, and you may think, well, they're not going to understand this. And the fact of the matter is, I would wake up in the morning. He already knew that I was going to be doing my meditation practice, and he would actually entertain himself next to me, or the next bed over, next to mine at the hotel, as I was actually going into my moment of meditation, in my moment of my practice, in my moment of my intentional breathing. And it is really fascinating because a couple of days into our trip, he said to me, Dad, I'm so glad you do your meditation, because when you do your meditation, I feel you treat me with so much kindness and tenderness, and you're so gentle with me. I'm so glad that you meditate. I thought that was extremely profound to hear it from a 6 year old, and I'm not singling my son out like this super special kid. This has happened also with my older child, and independent of one another, they have remarked on how they see me, how they perceive me, how they experience me from just having me be in my practice. And then they become supporters of the practice. Like I said, they become advocates of that. So even if you have a very busy life, like some people do, most of us do, even if you are a single parent, whether you're a woman watching this video or a man who's a single dad watching this video, or you are in a relationship like many people are in the Alive Partner community, there's always a way to carve this space. And when you send that message to your family that this is so essential to you and they're benefiting from it, they become your advocates, they become your supporters. And in fact, when I was in my meeting, they said to me, well, like, you haven't even shaved for a few days and so on. It's really rare for me to actually create videos and have this look with a beard on. And I said, well, it comes to a point where you have to make a decision. If you have only so much amount of time to do something, well, there's some things that I rather not compromise. So I rather not shave and be able to wake up and prioritize doing my meditation really early on, as opposed to jumping in the shower and shaving, especially during some of the holiday weeks and so on of the year, like it is now. And forget about other things that, to be honest, at the end of the day, they're really superfluous compared to the power of being in your center, the power of being grounded, the power of bringing aliveness to your life, because you're in that place of allowance, because you're in that place of neutrality, because you're in that place of stillness. And there's nothing that can compare for me uh, to the aspect of creating my space for my meditation, for my morning practice, to stay in this state that I experience every time that I do this, and then compromising that for doing something else, or putting gel on my hair, or maybe I got to go and clean my shoes or whatever. And it's not that you are choosing neglecting your life for the sake of doing just one thing. Everything ties in, because as you do that, you get the support that you need for doing other things in your life that also matter, obviously. So I am sincerely wishing that this share brings some perspective to the fact that you can really carve the time. You can get the support that you need to perform some of these rituals or practices, if you will, that nourish everything else that you do in your day, in your life. And and if you're actually conflicted, let's say with the aspect of the diet, because I'm sure there will be some comments about this, then you'll actually find that being able to put the needle right in the center in your life every single morning, or whenever you choose that is your practice. I personally choose to do it in the morning. You're going to realize that some of the other things that perhaps would have been derailed by just the daily happenings of life, they won't be, because the clarity that comes from sticking to those things that you already know and you've experienced that they work in your life will impact those other activities, so that you're not neglecting them or being derailed by life and not doing them, and then producing that negative cascade that I mentioned at the beginning of this conversation with you. I am Mario Torres Leon from AlivePartner.com, and I sincerely wish that this has brought some new perspective into how you do your morning rituals, or your morning practices, or your daily practices in your life, and to know that when you're sending this message, you will be supported to actually continue to do them, because everybody benefits from them. If you want more material like this, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our community, and to share this video with others that you already have the awareness that they will be benefiting from this content, so that we can continue to create a community, and that we can continue to bring tremendous impact to others that perhaps are being challenged by topics like this. So until next time, continue your practices, share it, and I'll see you in the next video. Have an amazing, amazing day. See ya.